So we're getting back to where this channel all started. If you guys have been around since the beginning of this channel, Gabby and I built Rum and Colt starting in 2020 and finished it up in 2021 and had our first season with it. Overall, it was very successful, and this year we actually have to expand a little bit so we could handle some bigger parties that we have later in the summer.
That's not going anywhere.
So that's the topic of today's video, building a satellite auxiliary bar so it can be used in conjunction with our 2-horse trailer. So to build this bar, we started by picking up some 3/4 inch maple plywood. We decided to go with maple because it was the most affordable and durable hardwood plywood that they had available at the store near us. Most of this bar is going to be painted anyway, so the grain isn't really that important. Something cool that I picked up, I finally got a new set of sawhorses. The ones I had were pretty old, probably going on 50 years that I got from my grandfather. I'm not going to get rid of them, but they were pretty tired and getting a little sketchy, so I didn't want to be using tools on top of them. These are actually pretty cool because they have a slot on either side that will hold a 2x4, so you can almost make a mobile workbench out of it. This is super important because I really don't have that much space left to build a dedicated workbench. Maybe one day when I have my own garage. There's actually a second new tool in this video, this awesome Makita Track Saw. I decided to go with the corded option because it was the most affordable and had the best reviews. This thing is great because I used to have to use a level and a circular saw to get perfectly straight cuts. The same thing could be achieved with a table saw, but because I have a little job site saw, it's kind of hard to feed full sheets of plywood through by yourself. So enough with the tools and back to the bar. Because we wanted to be able to easily transport the bar and store it, I had to make it that it was collapsible. The basic design of this is actually pretty simple. It's going to consist of a bottom panel, a top panel, 2 side panels, a front panel, and a center support panel. You can see here, the track saw actually plunges, which allowed me to move the track further down to make a long rip cut. I actually ended up ordering a second track, but it hadn't arrived yet, and I wanted to keep going. You'll see in a second me unboxing it. This second track can actually be attached to the first track, making one long 104-inch track that can rip an entire 4x8 sheet of plywood from end to end. It might be hard to tell in some of these clips, but I ended up making a mistake on some of these cuts. Let me know if you pick up on it in the comments down below. So because I didn't want all the panels to meet flush with one another, I offset all of the panels inward by the same thickness as the plywood. For aesthetic purposes, I felt this looked the nicest. You'll see what these marks are for in a second. One thing I'm trying to get better with on all these builds is marking everything out and then doing whatever process it is that I need to do. What I mean by that is, if I need to cut all these panels down, mark everything out, cut the panels out, and then move on to the next step. Rather than mark out one panel, cut it, mark out another panel, cut it, and so on and so forth. This helps the accuracy of the work be a little bit better, and it also saves a lot of time because I'm not switching back and forth between tools and whatever I'm doing. Honestly, I never used to use one of these combination squares, but it makes a huge difference in an accurate markout. I should probably get a higher quality one, to be honest. So right after that long rip cut I did, the second track showed up. Along with the second track, I had to get one of these connection kits, which basically consists of 2 metal bars with some set screws to hold them together. Honestly, I'm not so sure that this saves much time, because ultimately you have to ensure that when you put this thing together, that it's straight and parallel with each other. So I wanted to try and get all these panels cut before the end of the night, because it was supposed to rain like crazy the following day. Sadly, this didn't end up happening, and the sun was going down. So the next morning was a little bit of a struggle. Trying to juggle a 4x8 sheet of plywood in a single car garage that already has a lot of stuff in it is definitely not an easy task. But after I got everything set up, I cut the center support panel, and then I wanted to try routering some of the recessed channels that would eventually tie these panels together. When I was cutting in the garage, I actually took advantage of the dust collection port on the track saw and hooked it up to the shop vac. This prevented spraying dust all over the inside of my garage. Sadly, as you'll see in the next few steps, I couldn't do this with the drill or the router. So to connect all these panels together, I plan to cut a series of slots into the top panel and the bottom panel that the side panels could slide into. In order to do this, I started by using a mortise bit that was the same diameter as the thickness of the plywood, which in this case is 3/4 of an inch. Following that, I used 2 strips of plywood and a flush cut spiral router bit to cut between the 2 holes that I drilled in order to create a 3/4 inch slot. Looking back at this, a better way to do this would have been to use a router straight edge guide with the plunge base and a 3/4 inch bit rather than having to go through both of these steps. Remember earlier on in the video when I said I made a mistake with some of those cuts? Take a look at the right side of that piece of plywood. I accidentally left the track saw on like a 3 or 4 degree angle and didn't check to make sure the blade was square with the base. Thankfully none of these are butt joints, so it won't affect anything, but it's just one thing to double check if you're going to do something like this. To fix that, I just ran it through the table saw and squared up that corner. You could see by the inner edge of the right side piece of plywood, my table saw blade was shot. Thankfully, these pieces were just sacrificial guides and didn't really matter. So as you can see, this was definitely very time consuming. Between setting up the guides on either side each time I needed to cut one of these slots and moving the clamps, it was a pain. But ultimately, it came out pretty good and I'm happy with the results. Man, the amount of dust that this router makes is insane. When I have my own garage in the future, I'd really like to get a router with a dust collection port. Every slot that I cut, I made sure to check with a scrap piece of plywood that they were the right width. I didn't want to finish this all up and find out that the plywood wouldn't fit in all these slots that I cut. This is the second mistake I made. Because the router base would impact the clamps on either side, I ended up using a piece of hardwood flooring, or just hardwood in general, to hold the guides down so I could router all the way to the edge. In hindsight, I could have used a wider piece of plywood as the guide and moved the clamps outward, but I was trying not to waste so much plywood as it's insanely expensive right now. With the slots cut in the top and bottom panels, it was time to cut the inverse into the side and center support panels. To do this, I used my combination square again to get the exact depth of the slots that we previously cut. And to get the length of the slots, I simply just laid one panel on top of the bottom panel and transferred my marks over. I then used a rabbiting bit to take 3/8 of an inch off half the thickness of the plywood, and then followed that with a flush cut bit to make the entire inverse the complete depth of the plywood. I'm not sure that explanation made any kind of sense, but keep following along and I think you'll get it. One thing to mention, this Freud rabbit bit that I bought actually came with different size bearings that would allow you to cut different depth rabbits, which I thought was pretty cool. Because I didn't trust myself and thought I was going to ruin an $80 piece of plywood, I decided to use a piece of scrap and make a test piece to make sure my concept would work. And sure enough, it did. Now there was really only one thing left to do: test fit all the panels together and make sure everything fit as it should. Surprisingly, everything fit together pretty good, although I had to make a couple adjustments to a few of the slots so each panel would fit flush with one another. With that out of the way, I retest fit everything, and you can see the finished results. Well, the first half, for that matter. So far, this is actually coming out better than I expected, as I've never done something like this that could be disassembled before. If you haven't already and you think I deserve it, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.